The first time you ever saw somebody skateboarding, they were probably doing some tricks on their board. And you might have thought to yourself that it looked really cool or really fun, and it might have been actually the thing that inspired you to start skateboarding. But the second you step foot on a board, you probably realize that this looks a lot easier than it actually is. And it's true, skateboarding is probably one of the hardest hobbies to get into. And it's not hard because it's a big money obstacle to get into it, or because there's a lack of space to do it, or even because there's a lack of information on how to learn skateboarding. Skateboarding is hard to get into simply because it is just really hard to learn. At first, everything feels just kind of awkward when you first start riding, and as soon as you try learning those tricks that you've seen someone else do, you come to the realization that even though you've watched every YouTube video on how to kickflip, you still can't manage to even get the board off the ground. This small period of not being able to do anything on your skateboard is definitely the most discouraging, the most painful, and also, in my opinion, the least fun part of skateboarding. So in today's video, I wanted to dedicate it to all you new skaters that are just starting off, or even the ones that have been skating for a while, and tell you 10 tricks that every beginner skater should know. These aren't the coolest tricks, and some of them aren't the easiest, but if you practice every day for a week, you should be able to learn most of these, and most importantly, it'll teach you the basics of skateboarding, and it'll get you feeling a lot more comfortable on your board. Once you learn how to do these, not only will you learn some new tricks, but you'll also be able to skate with more style, confidence, and not look like a total noob. So without taking up any more time, let's get right into the video. Up first isn't the easiest trick to learn, but it's also the most important one to start learning first, and the one that you will end up using the most as you keep progressing: the Ollie. The Ollie is what almost every other street skateboarding trick is based off of, and it will teach you how to get your board off the ground. To do it, simply position your back foot on the tail of the board and your front foot sideways right behind your front bolts. Then push down with your back foot and instantly slide your front foot up to the lip of the board. The key is to do it as a continuous motion, and to make sure that your shoulders are square off your feet and that you're not rotating your hips or your shoulders while you're jumping. Every other trick where your board leaves the ground is more or less based off the Ollie, so the Ollie is one of the most essential tricks to learn first. But one thing you should avoid when learning the Ollie is staying stationary while you do it. While it is okay to learn it stationary, and you might find it easier because you have to focus on less things at once, as soon as you land it a few times, you should instantly begin learning it while you're moving. During this stage, you should also practice ollieing up onto something, such as a ledge, a curb, or even something as small as a piece of wood or some really stiff cardboard. Once you learn how to ollie over things, riding around your town or skate park will become a lot more fun and enjoyable, and you'll find yourself challenging yourself with what you can ollie up onto. At the same time, you should also be practicing how to ollie over something, such as a cone, a stick, or even a broom, and also rolling and then ollieing down something. Having a good ollie will open up a lot of opportunities for you to skate different stuff. And although it will definitely take you a few days to land your first one, and months to even years to get really good at it, it's a skill that comes in really useful when riding around and learning more advanced tricks. Number 2, stopping with your back foot. Okay, I know what you're all saying, but that's not a trick. Well, alright, it's kinda not a trick, but I still see a lot of beginners and even some intermediate skaters not know how to stop with their back foot. This is the first thing you should honestly learn once you start rolling around your board, because if you haven't noticed by now, skateboards don't have brakes. So the only thing that's going to stop you from hitting that car at the bottom of the road is your feet. And if you think that you can just run it off, well, sometimes you can. But at a certain point, unless you're Usain Bolt, you won't be able to outrun your fall when you're inevitably going so fast that the only thing that's going to be left for you to do is either find a way to slow down or brave through the speed wobbles while speeding 35 miles per hour down a hill. Trust me, it happens to the best of us, and it'll definitely sooner or later happen to you too. So make sure to practice stopping with your back foot. An easy way to learn how to do this is practice riding with only one foot on your board at first. Once you get that down and feel comfortable, gently start placing your foot that's in the air onto the ground while you're rolling. And also make sure you're putting your back foot on the ground. You don't want to put your front foot on. That's going to cause a whole lot of issues I'm not even going to get into. Over time, stopping with your back foot will pretty much become second nature to you, and you won't even have to think about how much weight to put in your foot when you're stopping. Number 3, dropping in. Dropping in is one of the most terrifying things to learn when you've never done it before, and then it becomes the easiest thing to do once you successfully just do it one time. Dropping in doesn't have anything to do with skill or even practice really, it's all about commitment, and sometimes that's actually the hardest part. Because as soon as you get on top of that ramp, you realize that even though you may be only a few feet off the ground, you actually feel really high up, and you start getting flashbacks to all the fails you've seen of people dropping in. But in reality, as long as you do these 3 simple tricks that skaters don't want you to know, it's really safe and it's really easy. All you need to do is first bend your knees. This is an important one. Make sure to bend your knees. Then you stomp your front foot on your bolts like you're stomping on a big spider, like a fat one, alright? Like a tarantula. And then all you gotta do is lean forward and let the board do the rest of the work for you while you roll away. Some ways to warm up before fully sending it and dropping in is by practicing rolling down a small ramp, then dropping in from the said ramp, and then taking it to a quarter pipe and just sending it. That's really the only way you can do it. You can have someone hold your hand, but come on, you honestly don't need it. You got it, man, trust me. Just remember to start small, so that way you can build your confidence up to doing bigger quarter pipes and mini ramps. Number 4, the manual. One of the key things you first need to learn on a skateboard is how to balance yourself on it. And learning how to manual will teach you a lot about how your skateboard reacts to what you do, with not only your feet, but also with your whole body. On top of just helping you to get used to finding your balance on your skateboard, the manual is a very basic yet fun trick to know and get good at. And it's also a handy trick to have when you start getting better and start combining all of your skateboarding skills and start doing lines. And no, not the Charlie Sheen lines, like the trick lines, kind of like ollieing up and manualing over something. Or you can even kickflip or do other tricks out of a manual. These are obviously a lot more advanced tricks, but learning the manual early on and getting good at it will give you a safe, easy, and a fun trick that you can practically do anywhere that you want. Number 5, the frontside and backside 180. Frontside and backside 180s is a stepping stone to board slides, tail, and nose slides, because that's what you need to do when you're about to land on a ledge or the rail that you're sliding on. Although, of course, you won't be fully rotating 180 degrees for that, and instead rotating only about 90 degrees. But regardless, learning front and backside 180s will prepare you for the more advanced flip tricks and also give you a better understanding of how your board responds to your body. Mostly because you'll have to learn that to rotate your skateboard with your body, you can't only move your feet or your hips, but you have to move your shoulders with the rest of your body as well. Doing a frontside and backside 180 is similar to the way that you ollie, except for the whole rotating part. To do it, simply wind up your hands before you jump, and as you ollie, rotate your shoulders and hips 180 degrees. Something that can help with this is focusing on moving your back leg out in front of you. But as with all things skateboarding, this will definitely take some practice. Number 6, the pop-up.
I'm gonna teach you how to pop your board up and not look stupid.
A common way to spot a beginner is the way they pick up their board. They'll often kind of step off and do an awkward looking bend over to pick up their board. And while technically there is nothing wrong with doing this, it does take extra time and it looks kind of bad, and because half of skateboarding is all about style, you should try to incorporate that in your skateboarding even if you're just a beginner. So to do a pop-up, as I like to call it, just requires you to sharply pop the tail of your board and then catch the nose with your hand. This is a very simple trick, if you could even call it that, which you could learn and get the hang of in a matter of minutes. Number 7, throwing your board down. This one kind of goes with the pop-up because it just adds style to your skateboarding, and all you have to do is run and throw your board down in front of you and then jump onto it. Sounds simple enough, right? Well, it is, but you might find yourself not being able to commit or stay balanced after jumping onto your board. So if you're struggling with that, practice it by just jumping onto your skateboard while it's stationary, then do it while it's rolling slowly, and eventually try throwing it down and stepping onto it while you're walking. Eventually, you'll be able to do it in full sprint, and it'll help you gain speed for a jump that you're about to do. Number 8, Slappies. Slappies are one of the easiest and the most fun tricks to learn. There's a lot of different variations of them, but just for the sake of simplicity, any grind or board slide that you do without having to ollie, I'm going to call it a slappy for this video. These work best for low profile curbs and parking blocks. Just make sure to wax them a lot before you do it, or else you're probably going to eat it. To do a slappy, simply roll up to the curb or a parking block with some reasonable speed, so pretty much as fast as you're comfortable with, and then at an angle, kick your board onto the curb while still keeping your weight on it. Once again, there are a lot of different variations that you can do of slappies, so there isn't any specific way you should be doing it, so just do the way that feels right for you. And keep in mind that with the more speed you come in with, the easier it'll be to slide. So if you come in really slow with bad weight placement, your trucks will just stick to the concrete and you'll get sent flying forward. Number 9, the Revert. The Revert is similar to the front side and backside 180, but while you're staying on the ground. Yet it requires slightly different movement and weight placement than a front side and backside 180, and will ultimately be the stepping stone for learning power slides, which is a more advanced way of slowing down your board that typically works better at high speeds. Reverts are about as easy to do as it look, which is honestly kind of rare in skateboarding. The only thing you have to really do is put about 60 to 80% of your weight on the front foot and then rotate yourself 180 degrees by using the same technique as the front side 180 except leaving out the ollie. Number 10, the rock fakie. This by no means is an easy trick to learn, and it took me about 3 months of consistent practice to be able to learn rock fakies. Rock fakies aren't hard, and it's an essential stepping stone to get into train skating or just mini ramp skating for that matter. To do it, simply start by riding up a quarter pipe halfway and lifting the front of your board in the air just like you do in a manual, and then set it back down and roll away backwards. Once you get that down and start getting more comfortable, start going up all the way on the coping and then doing the same exact motion as before. This is a lot harder than it sounds, and for me the biggest issue was commitment, because I thought the front truck would get stuck on the coping, causing me to fall backwards. And depending on the quarter pipe that you do this on, it can definitely happen to you. So try to find one with a very mellow or no coping at all. And for all of you that are confused, a coping is a metal tube at the top of a ramp. But just like everything else in skateboarding, start small and build your way up. Or don't. I'm not your mom, I can't tell you what to do. Anyway, I hope this video helped out some of you, and if it did, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're new, because I upload videos like this one and other ones on skateboarding twice a week. And also let me know in the comments what other essential beginner tricks you think I missed, and I might feature a comment in the part 2 of this video. So, that's all for now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.